Find product links below and hundreds more videos on my channel.
Hi everyone, welcome back. So today we're taking a look at the Varavon A7 series cage. This is the A7S in there right now, but of course you could use this with the A7 or the A7R. And for those of you wondering, this is the Voigtlander 35mm f1.4 lens and the Helicoid adapter. This is a really awesome little thing. I won't explain this now, but do check out the video down below. Basically, anyone shooting with manual lenses on mirrorless cameras absolutely, in my opinion, needs to get one of these. They are awesome. And I love this thing. I have a few of them. So I'll have a link to that with an explanation in a separate video. And of course, I'll have a link to a video about the Voigtlander lens once I have a review of that as well. Now, the A7 series cage from Varavon is nice. It's well made. It's not perfect. So I'll try and go over all the things I like and don't like and keep this video as quick as possible. So now the cage is very well made. It is surprisingly lightweight, which is nice, especially if you remove the handle. But even with the handle, it is very nice and lightweight. Again, surprisingly lightweight. But I would have preferred it if it was a little bit smaller. So that we do have, quite a bit of extra space there. I'm not sure if it was smaller, if the extra space really would have if it was smaller, if you could have actually got the camera into there, but with this extra space here, I mean, it's fine. It's not a big issue. I just like things compact when possible. And now this right here is a little bit of an issue for me, not a big problem, but it just makes the grip a little too large. So I would have preferred if they, well, maybe someone with big hands would have preferred this, but I would have preferred it smaller than this. Now it does have a nice quality leather strap there, which is nice, nicely adjustable. It has some neoprene on this side, which is it's fine, it's nice. And I do really like these sort of straps. I don't generally shoot with my camera, just hand holding it like this, but it's nice to have if you want to do that that way. Then potentially nice. And now the handle up here, the top handle is very nice. We do have two hot shoes that are here and here. I would have maybe liked to see a slightly more rounded handle, but it's really not a big problem because, we're not lifting a ton of weight with this. And so, it's not really a big comfort issue. And they, again, they have tried to keep this thing as lightweight as possible, like cutting these holes out there. And we do have two hot shoes which don't spin out of position. So, for example, this one is being held in place with a little ridge right there so that it can't spin out of position, which is nice. And you could, use more of these or use this one in another place in the rig, but then, it won't be quite as strong as that. And then here we have one that's actually built right into the cage, which is nice. And the top handle is removable, but when you just use the one screw that comes with the cage, then it does have a tiny bit of a wiggle, which is not ideal. It's fine, it's not a big problem, but not ideal. So I put a little extra screw in there. It's the standard size. There were already two holes in there. So just adding a second screw, I put it in from the bottom. But, if you find a small one, then you can put it in from the top. And that's it. Done. Nice and strong. And definitely there's no way that's going to move anywhere right now. So we do have some nice holes up here so you can actually see what you're doing and, fairly easily reach the controls and the shutter button in case you need to. And, overall it is nice to use. And so next up, the port protectors here, they are, well, it's much better than nothing, but it's not really ideal. These little holder things, these little screws to hold the thing in place, I think personally, if I was going to be using this with a lot of things connected to this, which of course is one of the main reasons for having a cage like this is to protect your ports. So I wouldn't be using the little screws. I would simply plug whatever I needed into there and then use this cable holder to hold that cable in place, which for me is more than enough protection to prevent that cable from getting yanked. And of course, because we have a bunch of metal around it, then most things bumping into that aren't going to break those ports. So that's what I would do, just because it is very difficult and awkward because these doors are in the way, these sort of protector doors that would, they're from the camera obviously, so you have to open the doors before you put the cage into the, before you put the camera into the cage. So because of those, there's, even though we have these screws, I put two of them here, but basically there's 4 screws on each side, but these black screws can't go very much backwards into the front of the cage, and you also can't reach them because these doors are here. To basically adjust them, you have to get a pair of pliers and reach in from here and try and twist them like that, which is really not that easy to do and to adjust, especially when you're trying to plug a cable into there, and especially if you're trying to do this while on a job or while trying to work quickly. So what I would say is just remove all these screws and these ones, and keep them for something else that might be useful. Maybe put one of these there or something, and just plug the cable right into there. And by the way, some large cables might not be able to actually fit into here. I'm not sure. There's not much spare space in there to plug stuff in. So as you can see, it's a fairly small amount of space. Most of these cables should fit, but like for example, some large ones of these might not fit. This one is pretty much reaching the maximum that will go into there. You can see that. So yeah, so then you would just put it in like that, and place the cable through the cable holder thing, and that would be hopefully doing a fairly good job of protecting your ports and your cables. So that would be locked into place like that. And now you definitely, I think, want to change these screws around. They're not that bad, but they are completely smooth on all sides, and that just makes things just a little difficult to actually turn them. And obviously, definitely, I don't want to start getting coins out whenever I can avoid doing that, or a screwdriver or something. Whenever I can avoid doing that, I prefer, obviously, it's much easier to just do it with fingers. So you can very easily just get different ones of these, which just are easier to grip. And again, potentially you could just use some of these. So next up, the bottom connection here is a standard Arca Swiss kind, and I personally would have preferred if they didn't have the Arca Swiss, even though it's a very common system. There are also a lot of people who are using other systems, like me. I'm using Giottos, other people are using Manfrottos, or whatever they're using. They're not necessarily using the Arca Swiss system. So having that, even though it's a popular standard, is not really what I'd recommend. Also because I hate the Arca Swiss system, not because I have anything against them, but because all of the ones that I've seen, and by the way, hate is a strong word. I dislike and won't use the Arca Swiss system whenever I can avoid it. Not because I have anything against them, but just because they don't connect very well with regards to safety releases. So, for example, here, if I was to connect this to a tripod system, and by the way, there may be tripod systems that use the Arca Swiss standard size, which do have a good safety connection. But as an example here, I put it on a fluid head. As soon as this gets loosened, the tiniest bit, the camera can come off. So there's no safety release, no little safety button to prevent it from falling off. So I definitely wouldn't be using this. And even with systems that do have, with Arca Swiss systems, there are several ones that do have a safety release system. Even with those, with all the ones that I've seen, once you twist this enough, so even though right now it's locked, and if I slightly unspin it, it won't completely come out, or at least with some plates it's like that. Another couple of turns and it comes off. I won't use the Arca Swiss system, and that's why. And another thing is that this screw right here is awful. Really, I mean, it's difficult to reach, even with some coins, as an example. Even with this, I can't even get it to go into there because it's, it's inside a sort of a raised area. So first thing you do, get yourself a little D-ring screw. This is a Giotto's one, but any D-ring screw would be better than this. This thing is awful. There's just nothing to hold on to. Even when it's loose, there's pretty much no way to grab it, which just makes putting the camera into here a little bit annoying and slow. And so just get one with a D-ring. It's going to be much nicer. By the way, you can still use, just a standard connection on there. It just means that it's slightly larger and it might have slightly less gripping space than if it didn't have this already there. But it's fine, not a big issue. You can still use it with your own plates. It does have that there, but it's only one hole connection rather than, several in that area, which you can choose from. So maybe, again, not ideal to have that built into here, but again, not a big problem. We do have nice access to the battery, which is always very, very important, and the cards. So no problem there. So, all right, guys, I hope I have gone over everything that you wanted to know about this cage. It is nice and I like it, and even though it's not perfect, it still has some nice things about it. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you found this helpful. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.